From Here to the Great Unknown by Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough. Everyone knows Elvis Presley, a man with a seemingly endless list of accolades under his belt. He has sold over a billion records. He has starred in 31 feature films. He's the only artist to this day who has been inducted into the Rock and Roll, Country, and Gospel Halls of Fame. He was posthumously awarded the Presidential National Medal of Freedom in 2018, regarded often as the king of rock and roll, and one of the most significant people of the 20th century. He passed away in 1977, and in 2024, almost 50 years later, his daughter and only child puts together a memoir with her daughter. And here's the interesting background behind this book's writing. Almost as interesting as it is unfortunate. Lisa Marie Presley was writing her memoir, and a month after she asked for her daughter Riley's help, Lisa passed away. I think it's human nature to want to know the cause, so I will disclose that it was cardiac arrest. If that is not any indication of how the book is, people have called it heartbreaking, raw, riveting, deeply revealing, profoundly moving. What is it really? Is it really those things? Let's find out. In this video, I'm going to go over the chapters, things I learned, things I liked, things I maybe wasn't so crazy about, what makes this book so significant. I'm also going to go over some standout quotes, who I recommend this book to, as well as what books to maybe check out next. Just so you know, there are affiliate links in the description. If you buy anything through those links, like maybe this book, then I get commission, which helps me build this channel and keep making these videos. You can also find this book and many others on my Amazon storefront. And also, chances are any books that I mentioned in this video, I've also reviewed, and I'll drop links to those in the description as well. So affiliate links, Amazon storefront, and other reviews. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam, and I want to make self-growth normal, because people shouldn't have to look this information up. It should just be mainstream knowledge. If you agree, then please make sure to smash that like button. The preface began with Riley discussing the challenges her mother had with writing the memoir, and these are very common and understandable for people to have. Insecure, not sure what you would write about, fear that people might find it uninteresting, and in my experience with memoirs by notable figures that actually end up being published, these are usually wrong. Everyone has a story or series of stories to tell. Something else here that I appreciate was a disclosure of where Riley's contributions to the book were. A lack of this transparency is something you might find in, I don't know, maybe Prince Harry's book, for example. Riley said she hopes that by Lisa telling her story, she resolves into a three-dimensional character and to the woman they know and loved so dearly. Chapter 1 is Upstairs at Graceland. Something cool about the audiobook is you get to hear actual audio from the interviews with Lisa that the memoir is based on. I found it intriguing the way Elvis was as a father. It's like you want to stay on his good side because he's so loving, but if he gets upset, it's like the world is ending. Like the one night when he screamed and cursed and threw a ton of things off of the balcony of the top floor of the hotel he stayed in because no one gave him any water. She didn't have a good relationship with her mother, at first, it sounds like, at least. I will leave the reason why to the book. This is not some river of spoilers. For those who don't know, Graceland, by the way, is the name of the mansion that Lisa was raised in. This chapter talked about all the different things that happened during this upbringing, and it sounded like a long, crazy, luxurious, emotional adventure, really. They have a candlelight vigil, by the way, every year at Graceland on the anniversary of his passing. Chapter 2 is He's Gone. Of course, this chapter talked about the night when it happened. There's a rumor that's gone around for a long time that he passed away on the toilet. If I'm not mistaken, this is actually false. He passed on the way to the hospital. He did suffer from high fat and cholesterol, but also chronic constipation, which regardless of what caused it, when you look into it, it actually sounds extremely painful. I don't think it's a laughing matter personally. The autopsy report included notes of substances. Elvis had his flaws, but he didn't seem like a terrible person. It also seemed like Lisa never found a way to live with losing him either, which really is heartbreaking. A manager of his over the years, Jerry Weintraub, noted in his badass memoir, When I Stop Talking, You'll Know I'm Dead, that basically when a musician is as famous as Elvis, if they want something to take the edge off per se, there's someone right there waiting to give it to them. It's endless, immediate gratification, which is scary as hell. And you hear about us losing all these younger musicians over the years, it's really terrifying. Chapter 3 is The Wall. Lisa hated school, and she did talk about her substance use, which I suppose makes sense. She did have a pretty troubled youth later on. She also talked about the birds and the bees, some of which was pretty vivid, and her experiences in Ojai Valley. The one thing that really stood out to me, the guy she dated for 2.5 years, it sounded like hell, especially the ending. Her revenge was pretty awesome though. It was apparently the first time she realized that people can have an agenda with her, knowing who she was. Definitely a shocking and very cathartic moment in the book. Chapter 4, There's a Bluebird in My Heart. This chapter talked about Danny, her first husband of 4. If you don't know who the other 3 are, sure, you could look it up, but you'll probably recognize at least 2 of the names, and they are not who you'd expect. The second one floored me. She really fell for this Danny guy though, and said that she felt she needed to have children with him. But on his side of things, something about her just really intimidated and scared him, almost like she would be the end of his life. What was it? That's another thing you'll have to check out the book and find out. This is not a tell-all, okay? Chapter 5 is Mimi. Her second husband, I really don't even want to talk about. He is one of the most famous people in history. His meeting and falling for her was a heck of a story. I had to get ready for bed writing this part, but I couldn't even get off the couch. I was so zoned in listening to it. Here's an example of how famous Lisa got, being with this guy and being Lisa Marie Presley. Typically, the kitchen was covered in tabloids that her assistants would lay out for her so my mom could read all the cover stories about herself. When he came to visit, she wouldn't leave the magazines out or ask him to sign an NDA. This is something that I've read Kim Kardashian actually does. When significant things were happening in our lives, she would take us out of school. We had to stay home until it would blow over a little. Once we were back in school, we had security outside all day, and if I went to sleep over at a friend's house, security would sit outside there all night too. The end of their relationship was really something. His paranoia was really something. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. All right. Chapter 6 is 10 years. I love the back and forth in the book between Lisa and Riley. I thought that and by the way, I'm just saying Lisa. I don't know if she goes by Lisa Marie or Lisa. For some reason, listening to the whole book, not at one point did I figure that out. It turned out to be a lot more just Lisa doing her thing and Riley dropping her own takes on things and pieces of the family story from her own perspective. It brought a very big intergenerational ethos to the table. You also learn here about her latter 2 marriages. The third was nothing very notable, but the fourth one almost came off as an attempt to just pick up emotional pieces of her life. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that. Lisa really went through some ups and downs. She did, but I feel like this may be a hot take. There was some major healing throughout the book that I think people are maybe understating on her part as her kids got older. A lot of this, of course, had to do with her being a mother, but she tied so much of her identity to doing that and just her personal spiritual beliefs. It's almost as if they kept her going all those years and stopped her from ending it all, per se. Still, though, there were lows, and they got low, like really low, and they did keep coming. It was tricky. This memoir really was like a roller coaster. Chapter 7, The Bus from Nashville to LA. Here's where Lisa's addiction started and how and when Riley noticed something was affecting her behavior. I do like how Lisa always prided herself on being a good mother. Like, no matter what she couldn't pride herself on, like that was always there. Remember when I was saying before about how like when you're Elvis or one of those top performers, people don't say no to you when you ask them for something. The same exact thing came up in this chapter about Lisa. So this Jerry Weintraub thing, this guy was not kidding. Chapter 9 is Ben. This chapter, it just took my breath away. It's rare for me to say something like this in a book review, so I don't mean to sound as dramatic as a fabric softener commercial, but this chapter was really it was nuts. When I started the book, I looked it up, just the book in general, to get a glance at what people have been saying about it, and there was a common headline stating that when Lisa's son passed, she kept him frozen in her home for 2 months. I'm gonna fact check this. You can find it in this chapter, but it is true. It said something about like what kept the body frozen or at a certain temperature, and there's no law in California that says you can't do this. And she admitted that a lot of people would find it completely crazy to do, but not her, until about 2 months into it. She was an extremely spiritual person, and she actually said that she could feel him after 2 months telling her to stop. Chapter 9 was Meditation Garden. It would be really interesting to see some more memoirs from other members of the family, but I know the ones who have the most vivid memories of what happened are probably gone for the most part. The controversy, the trauma, the healing, the success, the intensity, the longing, the spirituality, the family ties, the heartbreak, the substance abuse, the suicide, the luxury, the grief. It's essentially the closest thing we could get to like a full-on, well-released Presley family memoir. quotes. Just something to keep in mind, by the way, some of these are spoken by Lisa and others are spoken by Riley. I've never lived in Memphis, but something inside of me has. If you're gonna put a kid in school for all those years, at least find out what the kid is interested in. He had a crush on some Italian girl who didn't speak any English and had hairy armpits, and we were kind of over after that. Back then, they called you fat when you were pregnant. My mother had a Gaia-like quality, a mystical intuition. Sometimes it felt like Mother Nature lived through her. Direction 1. If you're looking for your next sink your teeth in type of memoir, this is it. Okay, I can just about guarantee it. It's almost, the memoir almost has like a historical characteristic to it. There are many dramatic, generational glimpses into what happened behind the closed doors of the Presley family that you will catch throughout the first 2 chapters alone. Direction 2, if you like this book, I recommend checking out Beautiful Things by Hunter Biden, also Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey, and the last one that this reminded me a little bit of was The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. From Here to the Great Unknown by Lisa Marie Presley and Riley Keough. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out and read the reviews. That and all the other books that I mentioned in this video, if you want to check those out too. If there are any other books that you folks want me to check out and review, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you checked out this book and you liked it. But hey, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, because I don't get why people watch this far into my videos and they don't subscribe, at least the book reviews. But if you have subscribed and you want to turn it up just a notch and turn on that notification bell to get a notification whenever I drop new videos, that would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You can find me everywhere, and I will see you then.